Welcome to another Move with Ease. I'm Caroline from Yoga Nut, a yoga and slings myofascial training teacher and an advanced clinical massage therapist. So I help people through massage and also through movement with chronic persistent pain issues, but also with acute injuries. But today, let me help you. So apparently it's International Stress Awareness Week. So stress is a big word, hey, because we all identify with it differently. Some of us kind of say, oh no, I'm always in a stressed state. Other people just cut through life with ease. And there are, for many of us, periods in our life where we can't escape from stress, that something presents itself that for us personally is very stressful. And that might be something like a bereavement, pain, an illness. Many of us, though, live with certain levels of stress throughout the day that vary because of our work commitments, our commitments to our family. And so we're sometimes pulled in many directions, which can create different levels of stress. And we need to find ways as individuals as how to best manage our stress levels. So first of all, we need to recognize when we are stressed. And that varies from person to person. And what triggers our stress response, again, varies from person to person. And there's a plethora of things that we can do to reduce and manage our stress levels. And that might be, it's finding things that we enjoy. And then once we've found something that we enjoy, it's ensuring that we incorporate that into our life. So for me, that's always movement. It's walking my dog, it's rolling my mat out, it's through breath control, it's through meditation. And for other people, it might be that they enjoy swimming or reading a book. So it's first of all recognizing when we're stressed, recognizing the triggers that cause our stress, and then finding appropriate activities that we can do to manage that stress. So a little bit about the autonomic nervous system. So when we were at school, we've learned about parasympathetic, sympathetic nervous system, fight, flight, rest, digest. That's the old way of looking at the nervous system. The new way is known as the polyvagal theory, and it includes the sympathetic nervous system as well as the vagal nerve. And the vagal nerve is a cranial nerve and it originates from the brainstem. So you've got the sympathetic spinal nerves, and that is the fight-flight response. So that's when you're being mobilised through fear. So that literally is lion coming towards you and you run for your life. And for many of us, we may not be running away from that lion, but all of the triggers within our lives day to day that cause us stress build up. And actually, it's those little lion cubs that are chasing us that keep us in this kind of mobilised, but in a state of fear and anxiety the whole time. We then have the vagal nerve. So this is known as the wandering nerve because it originates from the brainstem, but it goes into just many of the visceral organs in the body. And we have two sides to the vagal nerve, the dorsal and the ventral. And the dorsal side of the vagal nerve is when we're immobilised with fear. So that's when our body shuts down. So a state of depression, perhaps. And then we have the ventral side of the vagal nerve. And that is when we're immobilised without fear. So that's when we find that happy response, that relaxed, calm response, where we can go about our day feeling calm and interact with others in a more joyful, appropriate way. So we really need to hone into toning the ventral side of the vagal nerve. So I think that's enough waffle. So let's do a basic, it's called the basic technique. So this is, I'm just going to come out of shot. This is from this very well-thumbed book of mine by Stanley Rosenberg, Accessing the Healing Power of the Vagal Nerve. I'd really recommend this book. It's a very, very simple technique. So the vagal nerve is the 10th cranial nerve, but all nerves, you know, they cross over. The body isn't just lines, they kind of blend into one another. So by accessing one of the other cranial nerves that activates the eyes, we can start to tone and bring more blood flow into the brainstem that enhances the ventral vagal nerve. So it's a slightly odd thing, but it's so simple to do. Because we're sitting, I'm not going to get you to lie down. So basically, you need to keep the head still. So the best way of doing it is having the hands behind the back of the head and you're lying on your back. If you've got a shoulder issue, then you'll just have, you know, your happy hand. That's really so that you can feel that the head is still in space. So we're not going to do that, but I want you to keep your head in space. And we're simply going to use the eyes. So the first thing I want you to do before we start moving the eyes is just turn the head from side to side. And just nice and slowly, and just notice, using your eyes, like what can you see behind you? How far can you see? And when you go to the other side, can you see further? Is one side more restricted than the other? You know, how fluid is that movement for you? So just note that, and then come to stillness, keeping the gaze forward. And you're going to look to your right, but with your eyes only. And you just wait. Keep looking to your right. And as soon as you feel, so you might yawn, you might sigh, and it might take you a short amount of time, and it might take you a longer amount of time. But that response is the relaxation of the autonomic nervous system. So as soon, I'm there, I'm already yawning, but I'm talking, so I'm inhibiting it. Come back to centre. And then look to the left side. So you keep your face looking forwards, you're just turning your eyes to look at the left side, and you're waiting for that autonomic response, that letting go. So what this does is it rebalances the cervical vertebra 1 and 2 on top of one another. There we go. So I'm going to want to yawn. That's always my response. And bring your head back to the centre. Now, to test whether that's worked, and you know, that's pretty hard to do. Like, do I feel less stressed? Well, we've been sitting here. It's quite nice to turn the head and listen to somebody waffle on about well, hopefully it's nice to listen to somebody waffle on about the nervous system. So now, turn your head, and I mean, straight away, I've got way more rotation. So, are you able to look for further? I especially am on that right side, actually. Does it feel smoother? And that's because we've restacked the vertebra 1 and 2 come out of alignment, and we've restacked them. Therefore, you've opened the space. You get more blood flow in. So easy to do. So easy to do. And kind of pretty nifty. So one of the states, and I talked about the dorsal branch of the vagal nerve, is that immobilised fear. And that's that downcast, depressed state. You've given up. And for many of us, that sometimes comes about not just because of events that are happening in our lives, but structurally. So this head, I talk about it a lot in Move With Ease, this head forward posture. This creates a closing of the body. Everything's brought forwards. It puts so much strain on the neck. You know, you might have headaches. It puts so much strain on especially the trapezius and the SCM, this rope-like structure, or muscle to either side of the neck. So doing that basic technique, looking to the right, looking to the left, waiting for your nervous system response, is a great start. And you know, if you did that every day, it doesn't matter how many times you do it, that's maybe all that you need. And it rebalances, like I said. So you're already starting to rebalance the vertebra. So another thing that you can do that adds tone across the whole of the trapezius, which is under strain in forward head posture. So this isn't stretching or strengthening, this is trying to stimulate the nerve. So it's a cranial nerve that feeds, surprise, surprise, feeds the trapezius and the SCM. So it's, again, blood flow to the brainstem. So this is another really simple technique to provide tone across the whole of the trapezius. Upper traps, you know, you can just feel them, you can pinch them, but the trapezius muscle comes across also to the mid-back area. So what I want you to do, really simply, just cross your arms over the front of your body. You're going to keep your head forwards again, and just lead with the elbows, and the shoulders will turn. My head wants to turn, don't let the head turn. We're going to do this just slowly to start with, and then go the other way. So you'll feel the forearms glide across the belly, keeping the head forwards. I'm really having to focus on that. And then do this 3 times, or 6 in total, but at just a quicker pace, and come to stillness. And then raise the arm. So we're mid-triceps. So again, keep looking forward, and it's the elbow that leads you. And you just find that lovely rhythm, and then about 6 times, that was 8, come to stillness. To get the lower portion, and you can only really do this, well, where's my elbows gone? There they are. If the shoulders are happy. If the shoulder isn't happy, then, you know, just do it to one side. And just relax the shoulders down. And again, the head stays forwards, and you're rotating. Shoulder, elbow, shoulder, spine will follow. Again, I tend to like to do 8, but that's probably because I'm talking. And then relax. And for me, I feel an upward lift. So I feel taller just by doing that. Again, so it's resetting, especially the cervical and the thoracic vertebra. So we talked about forward head posture. We've used the basic technique. We've just done that lovely swingy technique, so easy to do in less than a minute, to tone the whole of the trapezius muscles. Now, the SCM, these rope-like, just look to this side, I'm going to rotate. Can you see that lovely strapping rope? It comes all the way up. We talked about it in Move With Ease before. We're just going to go on a bit of a hunt for some trigger points. Pincer grip, just nice and soft. So the SCM contracts bilaterally, keeps your head forwards in space. That forward head posture associated with depression, anxiety. If we can pull the head back, we can walk forwards in life and be socially engaged with others. So to contract the left side, you look to your right and come down low, and you'll get to one end. And then just release the head back to the centre, so you've got a bit of a grip. And how does that feel for you? So for me, that feels all right. There's no kind of pain. Don't really pinch too hard. You're just kind of softly gripping. And then rotate. Grab again, but higher up. Soften. That feels fine for me. But how does it feel for you? Actually, I can feel a bit of headache starting to go up around my ear. So I'm going to wait and hold here. I'm just going to wait and hold. And that might take 10 seconds, 20 seconds. It's gone off already. So these are musculoskeletal, I'll call them adhesions, knots, within that SCM. And again, just turn your head. We're only turning the head so that we contract it and then you can get an easier grip. If you get an easier grip by looking the other way where it's soft, that might be better. And you might not like doing this. You know, the throat's a really vulnerable place. Don't do this if it doesn't feel right for you. And then you work your way all the way up. And ultimately, it comes all the way up to here, the mandible. And I can just about get a piece there. And you just work then up the other side. And again, it's resetting the head back. And just take your time with that. You know, I'm kind of rushing through it. I'm aware of the time. I always overrun with Move With Ease. So just take your time, you know, review the video again on replay and just take your time to grasp, and you work all the way up. And when there's an ouchy spot, you wait and hold. So we're going to close with a breathing technique to reduce our stress levels. So what we know, what's been scientifically proven, is to take approximately 6 breaths a minute is relaxing and calming. Now, the autonomic nervous system is automatic. It functions things like respiratory, reproduction, digestion. One of the functions of the autonomic nervous system that we can control is our breath, which is why it's just such the most wonderful tool and has been used for millennia to help rebalance the person. So we're going to use, it's what's called is box breathing. You breathe, I'm going to do this because it's a box. You're going to breathe in for 4. You hold the breath for 4. You breathe out for 4. You hold the breath out for 4. And you repeat that. And the breath is through your nose only. And yeah, if you've only got a minute, you've only got a minute. If you've got 5 minutes, perfect. You're not forcing the breath. The breath is natural. It stays gentle. It stays slow. So let's just do that for a minute, perhaps. So I'll talk you through it. Actually, I'll show you first. So what I'm not doing is can you see all of that? I'm keeping the breath just really gentle. We don't want to be forcing the breath in. You saw those muscles, the trapezius, the SCM, sternocleidomastoid muscle, you saw them lift up, lift my shoulders, lift my collarbone up. We don't need to use those muscles for breathing. And we use them more when we're in a state, a sympathetic state, that fight-flight state, where our breathing is up here. So in our day-to-day life, knowing that we can control our breath, if we can keep the breath through the nose, gentle and slow, and like using techniques like box breathing, then we are helping ourselves to manage day-to-day stress, but also just to pull us out, pull us back in to this more receptive, brighter way of looking at life, rather than maybe avoiding and running away from challenges. We bounce back from challenges far more easily. So I very much hope you enjoyed that Move With Ease, the discussing the autonomic nervous system, the sympathetic and the vagal nerve, using Stanley Rosenberg's book, the basic technique, also that lovely toning for the whole of the trapezius, lengthening of the cervical spine and thoracic spine, and then coming into that box breathing, in for 4, hold softly for 4, Breathe out for 4, hold softly out for 4. Repeat, repeat, repeat. So enjoy the rest of your Monday. If this has raised any questions for you, then, send me a message, give me a call, come and see me for clinical massage, or meet me online or in person in my yoga with slings, myofascial training in Paddockwood in Kent. Okay, I'm signing off. Take care, everybody.